Some Asian countries are considering self-isolation for mild cases of COVID-19 as Delta variant contributes on the spread of community cases. Some Japanese firms, on the other hand, are considering to offer special benefits using the Vax app. Here are the details.
Earlier today, the National Governors Association on Wednesday urged national parties to include in their campaign the promise of stringent measures against COVID-19 before the House of Representatives polls at the end of the month. Aside from this, the group, which comprises Tokyo's 47 prefectural governors, also called on to the parties to include the establishment of a children's agency, advance rural economies in their platforms. Association Chief Totori Governor Shinji Harai said that they want the issues that the Governors Association has been appealing to be reflected in each party's discussions. Aside from this, the group also wants the parties to analyze the country's response to the fifth wave of coronavirus with a highly contagious Delta variant and the impending sixth wave. Increased subsidies to back local businesses hit by the pandemic at a cost of 2 trillion yen or $17.9 billion US. Other measures to help revive local economies and enhance readiness for disasters. With this, the group is expected to formally ask all parties on Thursday to echo the organization's proposals in their campaign pledges and wait on their replies by next Wednesday. The results will then be announced at a later date. 以上、世界日本から報告いたしました。SMNI News, Japan.
On Wednesday, Wakupasu app developers disclosed that some Japanese companies have joined their initiative to give special benefits to customers who will use the new smartphone app that shows proof of COVID vaccination. The developer's medical check propulsion mechanism and Tokyo-based medical venture iCheck company said that the move aims to reach out to customers by promoting their measures that prevent COVID infections while encouraging people to get vaccinated. Among these companies are travel agency HIS Company, the APA Group, which also has a hotel chain, sushi restaurant chain Kappa Create Company, and J-League soccer team Kashima Antlers. While they are still preparing for the benefits for the customers, the Kappa Create is eyeing to offer a 10% discount on food and drink charges. Meanwhile, in the app, the proof of vaccination of the user's face will be displayed on the screen if they register the important data after receiving the 2 full doses of COVID-19 vaccines. The Wakupasu app is now downloadable to smartphones free of charge and will be launched after getting the approval from Apple Incorporated and others. 以上、橋本京子、日本から報告いたしました。SMNI News, Japan.
According to the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, South Korea's daily new COVID cases has spiked to more than 2,000 infections again just after 3 days following a long weekend. Seoul has logged 2,028 new COVID-19 cases, including 2,002 local infections, making the total case load to 323,379. The new infections surged just after falling below the 2,000 on Monday and Tuesday, but with fewer tests. Since September 26, the country has logged more than 2,000 COVID infections, a day after recording more than 3,000 infections after the Chuseok holiday. With this, health authorities are still on alert for possible surge in new cases following a long weekend after the National Foundation Day and ahead of extended weekend due to Hangul Day. Since July 12, the Greater Seoul area has been under the toughest social distancing, level 4 measures, and the country extended it for another 2 weeks. Seoul, Subugu, Takyo Mimida, SMNI News, South Korea.
Sabaydi, Lao health authorities are considering allowing COVID-19 patients with mild to no symptoms to self-isolate at home instead of hospitals. The move came as the hospital and other health facilities were reaching full capacity. The recommendation is also being considered for individuals known to have had close contact with a person infected with COVID-19. According to the Department of Communicable Disease Control, though more temporary hospitals have been set up across the country, a medical personnel will soon be unable to deal with increasing infections. Lao currently have 6,390 active cases, 22 fatalities, and overall tally of 25,987 cases. Butlengan Kumun Yuvenchan Pate Lao Kumun Laikan Jane Terzer SMNI News, Lao.
The ministers of 6 states and 2 territories in Australia warned the federal government that the country's hospital systems are entering the most critical phase of COVID-19 response. In a joint letter, all 8 jurisdictions demanded for an urgent additional Commonwealth funding to support the pressures threatening the respective health systems. The state ministers expressed fear that their hospitals will not cope up once COVID-19 restrictions will be relaxed. The ministers also stressed that no action has been taken, despite the concern being raised multiple times in several meetings held this year. State officials also asked for additional funding for infected Australians recovering in their homes. The federal government, however, argued that the Commonwealth had already handed over enough money and even questioned some state officials whether the call was more motivated by politics than funding. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Devi Suarez, SMNI News, Australia.
Amazonas Governor Wilson Lima announced that he will give away 3,000 football tickets for the Brazil and Uruguay match to its constituents who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Lima said that the move aims to encourage people to get the vaccine and be protected against the virus. He added that Amazon residents can participate in the raffle draw that will run from October 5 to 12 with 3 draws per day. Anyone may register in the Vaccina Primada website and provide their personal information, and the winner's name will be published on the government's social networks and official website. Meanwhile, officials reiterated that all employees and spectators must use face masks during the event. Transmitindo de Sao Paulo, esse foi Chris Saclo, SMNI News, Brazil.
Municipal Health Secretary Edson Aparecido said that by October 15, São Paulo will be able to fully vaccinate 90% of its population against COVID-19, prompting City Mayor Ricardo Nunes to ask for an assessment if it will be possible to end the mandatory use of face masks in public areas.
This is despite the prior statement of São Paulo Governor João Dória that the mandatory use of masks will remain in the entire state until the end of the year, although cities and municipalities have the autonomy to decide their own. For the measure to take effect in the city, the local government must observe vaccinated population index and the mortality rate per COVID-19. With this, technicians from the health department are currently analyzing the epidemiological data to define the feasibility of the measure. Meanwhile, São Paulo also announced its preparations for the upcoming street carnival in 2022, which is expected to gather 15 million people.
However, Municipal Health Secretary Aparecido frowned the idea of holding the carnival since the decision to push through with the event should depend on the evaluation of the health department. Reportando de São Paulo, sou Mike Denis de Oliveira, SMNI News, Brasil.
The government of Edmonton now requires the Edmonton Public School Board or EPSB to be fully immunized against COVID-19. EPSB employees have until mid-October to privately reveal their vaccination records to the division. Any staff who refuse to get vaccinated must show confirmation of a negative COVID-19 test every 72 hours, while staff that is not required to receive the vaccination will not be tested. The EPSB will cover the cost of COVID-19 testing for employees from late October through December 17. Employees are expected to pay for their own test after that. According to a spokesman, the Edmonton Catholic School Division is working to evaluate procedures and protocols to protect in-person learning and secure staff and students from COVID-19. Reporting from Edmonton, this has been Trasha Abada, SMNI News, Canada.
Approximately 80% of school personnel have stated that they are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The government said employers in high-risk environments for COVID-19, such as schools and hospitals, must regularly have personnel inoculated or tested for the virus. Some organizations, such as Toronto District School Board and a few hospitals, have implemented stricter procedures that include the possibility of dismissal. Currently, 5 schools are closed due to COVID-19 outbreaks, with 146 new school-related illnesses recorded on Monday, including 11 among staff members. Meanwhile, Mike Schreiner, the leader of the Green Party, believes that an 80% immunization rate is insufficient because children under the age of 12 are unable to receive vaccination. Reporting from Toronto, this has been Merx Buzarang, SMNI News, Canada.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on notification button for more news updates. This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.